afternoon, everybody. Great to be here in Dallas. I've never been here before. It was eye-opening to walk today on the grassy knoll where we had yet another questionable piece of history as told to us by our government. We met some very interesting people while we were there. Somebody who was 13 years old, standing underneath the depository, watching the motorcade as it went by. And every week or every day almost since then is out there trying to educate people about what really happened. Now that was 50 years ago. So people are still attempting to get the truth out to the American people about very, very difficult chapters in our American history. And so 10 years out from 9/11 is not, in perspective, it's not that bad. Some of us have been at this for a number of years, working very, very hard to tell the American people about what happened on 9/11. Before we begin, though, I'd like to just ask you where we are in the room. We're going to be presenting some evidence. Before you see that evidence, let me ask three questions. How many of us pretty much agree with the official story? And I'll explain that. How many of us are unsure about the events of 9/11 at the World Trade Center, how the towers came down, what we're specifically talking about? And how many people already may have come into the room today agreeing with the evidence for controlled demolition that we're going to be showing you? First, the official story. We have jet planes hitting the towers, large explosion of jet fuel, the ignition of the office contents, creating a fire that weakened the structural steel, causing a gravitational collapse all the way down to the ground. No reason to believe otherwise. This is what the experts have told us and our government, the media. I was pretty much there, like me, 6 years ago, believing the official story. Not one? Come on, raise your hand. I know you're here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, thank you. And on the other hand, some of us have heard a few things. We're just not sure. We're here to check it out. How many of you are unsure about what brought the towers down? Wave your hand real high so I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Great, that's 21. And how many of us already agree with the evidence for controlled demolition? See what happens in a room like this? We'll count everybody and deduct who counts. I'll get a more accurate count. Do you have the numbers? I almost had your name. Dorinda. Everybody say hi to Dorinda. She's going to Dorinda and her family drove 2.5 hours. Thank you guys for coming. How many of you have driven further or flew here? Great to have you guys here. So we were in San Antonio last night, in Houston the night before. Denver, Saturday night, the PBS station in Denver is going to be airing the movie you're going to be seeing tonight to 80%, up to 80% of Denverites. Very exciting. So I'll ask you those same three questions again, so don't go bolting out of the room afterward, because unless you're just, you have to. Some people see this information and it's really, it can put us in a unique space, psychologically speaking, because we're not prepared to deal with the implications of this kind of information. And so in the movie, you'll hear 8 psychologists who help us to kind of come to grips with what it is that we have come across here. For me, 6 years ago, I was driving my car home from a meeting, and I'm hearing on the radio, Pacifica listener-sponsored radio, David Ray Griffin on the radio being interviewed, talking about a lot of the evidence you're going to be hearing tonight. And I'm going, I had to pull my van over. I mean, just like, I had no sense of, No one had ever said anything about an alternative theory as to how these three high-rises came down before. And I'm just in shock. I would have heard about this by now if what you're saying is true. The liberal media would have picked it up. We're going to talk about the liberal media afterward. And we're going to answer a lot of questions that I know you're going to have. And you're going to learn a lot more from some of the people in this audience than you'll ever learn from me or even these experts about 9/11 and the surrounding issues. Some very important stuff. First, I want to thank, from the bottom of my heart, our video team, which put thousands of hours into creating this video. It would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to create this. I mean, you might say, oh, that's an amateur job, but really, it's thousands of hours of work. So Francis Battaglia, Hollywood video editor, and Chuck Smith on our video team, Hollywood sound editor, I owe an incredible debt of gratitude for, and our entire video team and all the volunteers, dozens of them, who helped us through this process in one way or another. And people like James Gorley, people like Tim Tyner, people like Joe Stokes, and Rob here from Dallas, activists here in Dallas, who brought this film to you tonight. They're going to be coming up and telling you how you can assist them in getting more people into rooms like this, screening films that are very, very important for the American people. So, you're going to hear high-rise architects, structural engineers, metallurgists, physicists, chemists, controlled demolitions experts in this film laying out the evidence for you, and fire protection engineers, in addition to the psychologists at the end, and the family members who were supporting AB 9/11 Truth in trying to get at the truth of the cause of the death of their loved ones in the World Trade Center towers. So all of that is coming up. The film is about 88 minutes long. And I invite you to come in and take a seat anywhere you can. And is there any quick questions before we march down? Like, most of the questions will probably be answered in the movie. And if not, again, afterward we'll be starting. So with that, I hope you enjoy the show. And we'll see you in a few moments. Thanks for coming.